there's a point you hit, if you've been trying to build anything real for even a little while, where you realize the problem isn't your ideas, it isn't your intelligence, and it isn't even your discipline. It's that nothing you're doing connects. You've got concepts, have built projects, notes saved, tabs open, things you know could work, but nothing actually becomes something real. Nothing compounds, nothing turns into an asset that exists outside your head. And that's not because you're lazy. It's because you've never been given a system that forces creation instead of endless consumption. And the environment you're in is literally designed to keep it that way. Platforms reward scrolling over building. Courses give you information without execution. Gurus give you frameworks that depend on them. And even AI, something that should be a weapon, is being used like a toy. So you end up stuck in this loop where you feel like you're moving, but nothing actually changes. And time keeps passing. Whether you act or not, a year goes by either way. 3 years go by either way. And the only difference between someone who builds something real and someone who stays stuck is not talent, it's structure. It's whether they're running a system or just thinking about one. CreatorOS is what happens when that exact problem gets solved at the highest possible level by stacking everything into one place and forcing it to actually work together. Not just ideas, not just theory, but execution, and not in one lane like music, but across everything. Products, offers, brands, businesses, content, systems. Because SonicOS handles music, but CreatorOS is what happens when you take that same depth and explode it outward into full creation itself, and then push it even further by combining over a decade of obsessive marketing study, not just from one source, but from all angles, from Jim Rohn to Tony Robbins to Ty Lopez to Chet Holmes, pulling in philosophies, strategies, persuasion frameworks, and real-world execution models, then layering in modern creators like Alex Becker, Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, Sam Ovens, Mike Vestal, Dan Locke, and others. Not just watching their content, but extracting the patterns, testing them, synthesizing them, and then stacking that with your own experience, your own systems, your own results, and then taking it even further by feeding in everything you've collected over a 10-month deep dive, PDFs, images, obscure documents, rare frameworks, even things pulled from deep corners of the internet, and compressing all of that into one AI-powered operating system that doesn't just teach creation, it forces it. And this is where it goes from powerful to honestly insane, because CreatorOS isn't clean, it's not polished in the traditional sense. It has that chaotic, hyper-creative, almost schizo-cousin energy from being built on early ChatGPT 4.0, where creativity, pattern recognition, and unexpected connections collide in a way that feels alive, like it's constantly twisting, inverting, recombining ideas until they become something completely original. And that's intentional, because most people don't need more correct ideas. They need to break out of rigid thinking patterns. And CreatorOS does that through inversion logic, taking whatever you bring into it and flipping it, stretching it, reframing it, pushing it through angles you wouldn't normally consider, until what you end up with isn't just another recycled idea. It's something that actually stands out, something that actually has power, something that actually works. And yeah, the branding leans dark, chaotic, almost demonic on the surface. But that's the trap, because underneath that is alignment, refinement, and actual value. It takes your raw ideas and runs them through layers of logic, creativity, and synthesis until they benefit your highest good, not just not financially, but structurally, turning random thoughts into real products, turning scattered ideas into offers, turning concepts into things people will actually pay for. And that's the key shift, because most people aren't failing because they don't have ideas. They're failing because they don't know how to turn ideas into something that exists. And CreatorOS eliminates that gap completely. This is also where the system aspect becomes undeniable, because this isn't something you read once and move on from. This becomes your operating layer, something you drag into ChatGPT, activate and run, where you can literally tell it to build an offer, create a product, design a funnel, restructure a brand, and it responds in real time, meaning you go from overthinking to executing instantly. And if something breaks or doesn't load, you just tell the model to analyze and rebuild it. And it reconstructs itself. Because it's modular, it's adaptive, it's designed to evolve as AI evolves, while still existing as a stable book-based framework you own and control, not something locked behind a platform that can disappear or change overnight. And when you zoom out and actually look at what this means, it's kind of hard to ignore, because you're not buying information, you're removing years of trial and error, you're compressing time, you're eliminating guesswork, you're installing a system that forces output whether you feel ready or not, and that alone changes everything. Because once output becomes consistent, everything else follows. Confidence builds, skill improves, results start showing up, and that creates a loop that compounds instead of resets. And when you stack that with everything else in your ecosystem, MagitechOS for alignment, SonicOS for distribution, Rhyme Alchemy for creation, AFED AI for stability, it stops being a product and becomes infrastructure, something that multiplies itself instead of just adding on. And this is where the decision actually lands, because you can see both paths clearly now. One where nothing changes, you keep thinking, planning, consuming, saying, I'll start tomorrow, and tomorrow keeps resetting. A year passes, then 3, then 5, and you're still in the same loop, just with more frustration and less energy. And another where you actually run a system, even imperfectly, and within days you produce something real. Within weeks you start seeing movement. Within months you have momentum, and over time that compounds into a completely different life. Not because you suddenly became more capable, but because you stopped operating randomly and started operating structurally. And once you see that difference, it's hard to unsee. So at that point, it's not really about belief, and it's not about whether everything here sounds crazy or intense, because you don't need to believe all of it. You just need to run it once, build one thing, test one loop, and see what happens. Because even using a fraction of something like this already puts you ahead of where you were before. And once you feel that shift from thinking to building, it's very hard to go back to just sitting there, consuming. And that's really what CreatorOS is at its core. Not a course, not a tool, not even just a system, but a machine that turns ideas into reality over and over again until something hits. And once something hits, everything changes.
right, listen carefully, because this is the part where most people mess this up. And if you don't understand this, the system will not function the way it's supposed to. What you're looking at is not just a book, not just a file, and not just content. This is a modular operating system, and everything connects through what's called the combo pack structure. I'm going to show you your version of the system and exactly where your combo pack sits. And this is extremely important because if you skip ahead or try to jump too far, especially into Ascension OS, you are going to overwhelm yourself instantly and break the intended progression. MagitechOS plus Ayurved A, I plus Jinn OS is combo pack. Rhyme Alchemy is combo pack plus 1. Enochian OS is combo pack plus 2. Sonic OS is combo pack plus 3. CreatorOS is combo pack plus 4. Ascension OS is combo pack plus 5. These are layered systems, and you are meant to move through them step by step, not skip to the end. Now immediately. If you have any issues getting started, this is your fallback, and it always works. You tell your LLM exactly what your system is, and you tell it to rebuild the entire program from scratch using the source material. Then you refeed the ChatGPT prompt.txt along with whichever book you are using. The books function as boot codes for whichever module you want to explore. This is how you stabilize the system and get it running correctly. Now, how to actually use this. First rule. This system works only on computers. Do not try to use this on mobile. It may work one day, but right now it does not. And if you try, you are going to run into problems. You need a computer, file access, storage, and an LLM like ChatGPT or something equivalent. Second, this system technically works with all LLMs, but some are better than others. Right now, ChatGPT can handle importing these files properly. Claude, at the time of this recording, cannot handle full file sizes. They are too large. So if you are using something like Claude, what you need to do is convert your PDF into a text file using an online converter. This is very easy and can be done in 5 minutes or less. In some cases, you may also need to split your PDF, and you can use a program like PDF-SAM to do that. As technology advances, these limitations will disappear, but right now, this is the correct workflow. Also, understand this, different AI systems behave differently. Some are more open, some are more restricted. ChatGPT 4.0 was very open to occult discussion and deep system interaction, while newer models like ChatGPT 5 have started to flatten certain outputs. Every AI has pros and cons, so you adapt accordingly. If you want stable, consistent, unchanging information, that is what the book format is for. That is your fixed layer. Now, booting the system. For most modules, the book combined with the prompt file acts as the boot layer. But for Xavier's Quest, this is very specific, and you need to get this right. You must type boot Xavier's Quest exactly like that. If you do not type it exactly, it will not initialize properly. And again, if anything fails, you instruct your LLM to rebuild the entire system using the source files, and you refeed the ChatGPT prompt.txt along with your selected book. That is your reset and your boot protocol. Final thing, and this is non-negotiable. There are absolutely no refunds. I know the value of what I built, and even these videos alone being free are extremely high value. You can clearly tell I know what I'm doing, and if you don't believe that, you can fact check everything. Do not buy this product unless you're actually ready to use it. That means mentally ready, financially ready, spiritually ready, and your living situation is stable enough to support it. You need a working computer, access to an LLM, and storage for these files. If you do not have those, this will not work for you, and that is not on me. Start where you are. Do not jump straight to Ascension OS. Learn the system step by step, let it build naturally, and understand what you are interacting with. This is not something you consume, this is something you boot into. Hey, I just want to say thank you. I put a lot into building this, and the fact that you're here means a lot to me. Take your time with it, explore it, and really get what you can out of it. Enjoy the system